Hi everybody, as Superintendent of Schools of Jordan School District, I want to say welcome and thank you so much for the wonderful work that you do every day for every child in classrooms just like this. It's been 4 years that we've been working together, and through those 4 years I have learned some very important things about each one of you. You are loyal, you are dedicated, you are professional, and you are hardworking. Today I bring you a very important message to make sure that we are doing the important work that goes on in classrooms in the most effective and efficient way that we can. So let's start with each of you as an individual teacher in your classroom. What will be your impact on your students' achievement? Hattie is a researcher who has compiled many studies to look at the long-term effects of student learning and student achievement. As you can see, there is a preferred zone of desired effects, things that we can do in the classroom to maximize our time with our students. And then there's the typical effects of the teacher, the developmental effects, and the reverse effects. Through these meta-analysis, he's determined that 0.40 is 1 year's growth, student growth. Anything less than that, you're getting less than a year's worth of growth. Anything more than that is more than a year's worth of growth. As he's looked at these different influences, he's found that if we have a safe culture of collaborative expertise, which we have tried to foster over these last 4 years through PLCs and making it a safe place for teachers and students to learn, and we hold high expectations for both our students and our teachers and our leaders, we will have an effect size of 1.44. Now remember, 1.44 is off the scales. So when we have that growth mindset, not that the kids have to learn it right now, but really all children will learn it eventually. When we have teachers in the classroom that expect their students to learn at high levels, it will happen. Here is an example in one of our elementary schools where they have this mindset. This is a data room. They have identified those students that are on or above grade level and those students that are below grade level. The teachers believe that all of those students will be on or above grade level if they do the right things in the classroom with the students. We also know that if we have hired expert and inspired, passionate teachers and administrators that have that passion to ensure that we have impactful Tier 1 instruction in the classroom, we will be able to see tremendous growth in our students. Impactful Tier 1 instruction is essential. So when we go back to Hattie, we can see that maintaining high student expectations is really important and very impactful in the classroom. Making sure that we respond to students that need intervention. Making sure that as a teacher we receive formative evaluation. We get feedback on how we can become better. We also see teacher clarity. It is essential that we know what the objectives are, what it looks like when students reach success, and that we provide our students with prompt and immediate feedback so they can make corrections and make sure that they understand where their mistakes are and then move forward from there. Direct instruction is also very impactful. That means that you are delivering information and checking for students' understanding, but then doing something about it when students do not understand or if they need enrichment. We also see that classroom management is essential in order to make sure that we maximize our time in the classroom. Some other things that aren't as impactful, perhaps computer-assisted instruction. That means if you are just relying on computers to do the instruction. We have found that computer-assisted instruction is impactful if it's used for remediation or enrichment, but not the Tier 1 instruction. Homework is kind of an interesting one, and it's been in the news quite a bit lately. You can see that homework doesn't necessarily make a great impact. But when you divide that out and really drill down to see in the primary grades, homework does not make much of a difference. Remember, 0.01 would be way to the left, less than a year's worth of growth, way less than a year's worth of growth. But at the secondary level, you can see that homework is important. It should not be the first stage of their learning, but rather to reinforce what they have learned. Here are some examples at the elementary level where teachers have put into practice the theme, every child, every day. There are several of these. This is where the teacher is listing an individual student and then thinks about that student. What are their interests? What kind of study habits do they have? What kind of needs do they have in math? What kind of social behaviors do they have? What concerns do teachers have? And this is kind of a running record of those individual students. The teacher would make notes to remind her that this student has individual needs. Another example is by using mailing labels and putting the child's name on it to put in the lesson plan so that they know who needs extra help. Here's an example of an elementary lesson plan where the teacher has listed the objective in student-friendly terms, the strategy that they're going to use, the check for understanding they're going to use, and they've also defined what student mastery will look like. In addition, they are keeping in mind every child every day when those individual students are listed in that lesson plan in order to identify a certain strategy that they need to use with those students. They're well aware that Alex, Max, and Riley have not mastered this certain objective, and so they've listed them there in their lesson plan. That's how we translate the data into what we do in practice in the classroom. I especially like this lesson plan as well because it not only identifies, the standard and the objective and how they're going to define mastery. You see down there under A, mastery is defined as getting 8 correct out of 10. Then all teachers in that grade level know what mastery looks like. They've also added to challenge Nolan and Ty to think of similarities. So here we are not remediating, but we are accelerating the growth of these particular students that need that extra acceleration in their learning. Now, this is very difficult to do in isolation, and that's why PLCs have been so encouraged. And thanks to our Board of Education, they were able to allocate additional dollars so that elementary teachers have time to spend in their professional learning communities every week looking at student data and translating it to actions in the classroom to help all learners, thereby implementing every child every day. Here's an example of a PLC at work. This PLC has just started using Mastery Connect to be able to look at their individual student data. It's a very safe environment where they can compare the scores of children in each other's classes and identify strengths or weaknesses of that particular class and or teacher. But when we work together in a safe collaborative environment, we are going to make the most significant difference in our children's lives. Let's listen.
I had 16, wait, no, that's about the same. Yeah. I had 16 kids get it right and 5 kids not. So, I mean, you just have a little bit more kids than me, it looks like.
Yeah.
Okay.
But see, they did really good on number 2.
Yep.
Just not on number 1.
That was just misreading the directions. So we had to go back and look at that.
So we went and talked about it.
But is it, do they know the difference between place and value?
Okay. When you go back and talk to them. But see, this one's comparing us too, so we can see it.
Oh, yeah.
I just didn't put my name here.
Way to go.
I know, I'm such a sucker.
But you can see, like, number 4, number 5, my kids kind of struggled on.
And then we can see down here where we need to remediate. Okay,
How
still got to
can
go
you tell
back.
the questions, what questions they are?
So this is standard. This is for
Okay.
NBT.
This is
that's
a
going to be
standard.
your standard.
And that's
then
what's
item
in your book here.
analysis, question 1,
Okay.
is how you know which question it is.
So as you can see, and they're trying to drill down and determine what is the problem, they're asking themselves, was it the way the question was worded, or do the kids really not understand what this standard was? So as you work together in a collaborative experience, you can ask these questions and drill down and determine which students really, truly need the remediation and which students do we need to accelerate. You also, in your professional learning communities, and John Hattie has identified this as highly impactful, is that you have to determine what student success looks like. So in your PLCs, as you master these standards, everyone needs to know what the target is. What are we looking for in terms of a shared understanding of what student success looks like? Then you can determine if you were successful. Master Connect also helps you do that. It's a great vehicle. We're just learning how to really utilize this at the elementary level. It's very telling. We have so many things that we teach during the day, and there's no way to keep track of all of that in your mind. So Master Connect is simply a technology vehicle in which to house all the information. This is a way to use this vehicle to drill down to every child every day. So when we talk about Master Connect or formative assessments, and use assessments not just to measure, but to shape a student's learning, that's when you're getting at every child every day. But we are really drilling down to make sure that every child gets it, and that's our mission. Assessment is a tool to use, not the ultimate measure of our work that we've done with them. We use it to shape their learning. Listen in while this master teacher explains how she uses formative assessments in order to determine which students need the remediation.
And then I will bring this one in because they have to see the 5. So it's, as soon as they start missing a lot, it's a little bit harder to get them all back, but I want to get them all in the same group. And what I do is I ask them if they know what they did wrong to explain. And a lot of them will just say, I multiplied wrong, and then it's done. If, then there's not a real problem. But these, once I get them divvied out into how many they got wrong, then I start focusing on the one, whether they got number 1 wrong, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's what makes these the best, is because you only have to worry about 5 things, 5 concepts, and it's a little bit easier to wrap your hands around 5 and to get an RTI done around 5 because you've got 5 days.
So as you heard this master teacher explaining how she determines which children need the remediation, she said, when you identify as multiplication as the dilemma, that's it, you're done. Because it was simply an error in the multiplying. But there were other things that were asked on that assessment, and so then it's clear to her the mix-up came in one of the steps, so then she needs to pull them back according to which step was missed. My message to you is that in each building at the elementary level, we need to make sure that we have a safe culture of collaborative expertise, and we have that growth mindset. There's nothing from stopping them from learning as much as they can, and we are the vehicle for that. So it's clear to me that if we have a safe culture of collaborative expertise in every building in Jordan School District, that we can produce at least 1 year's growth for 1 year's time. From Hattie's work, we also found that teachers working together as evaluators has a very high influence on student achievement. It's 0.93. So I know brilliant teachers such as yourself working together have a much greater impact on student achievement than working in isolation. The question for you is, what will be your impact on your students? Again, thank you so much for the amazing work that you do in our classrooms each and every day. Together, we will make a significant impact on the lives of every child, every day in Jordan School District.
We believe in you.